Jake Morrison wiped the grease from his hands and stepped back to admire his work. The Xanthari quantum drive hummed perfectly on his workbench, its crystalline core glowing with a soft blue light. 3 certified Xanthari technicians had declared it dead. They said the molecular bonds had collapsed beyond repair. They told the ship's captain to buy a new one for 50,000 credits. Jake had fixed it in 2 days, for the cost of basic materials. "Beautiful," he whispered, watching the energy flow through the transparent chambers. He loved moments like this. Every piece of technology told a story. Every machine had a heart that just needed understanding. His repair shop sat in the lower levels of Crossroads 7, a massive trading station where dozens of alien species came to buy, sell, and trade. The shop was small and cluttered. Tools from 20 different worlds hung on the walls. Half-finished projects covered every surface. A coffee maker from Earth sat next to a Valorian food synthesizer. A broken translator device rested beside a Kryn navigation computer. Jake loved his shop. He loved fixing things that others gave up on. His communicator beeped. Captain Zoreth's face appeared on the screen. The Xanthari had 4 eyes and blue-scaled skin. All 4 eyes widened when he saw the drive running. "By the ancient stars," Zoreth breathed. "You actually did it. Morrison, you are a miracle worker." Jake grinned. "Just needed to realign the molecular structure and rebuild the containment field. Your technicians were right that the bonds collapsed, but wrong that it couldn't be fixed. They just didn't think creatively enough. I will send payment immediately. And I will tell everyone about your skills." "I appreciate it, Captain. Safe travels." The screen went dark. Jake made a note in his log. Another successful repair. Another happy customer. Another day, doing what he loved. He did not know that this success would bring him serious trouble. 12,000 light-years away, the Galactic Council gathered in their massive chamber. Representatives from 40 species sat in a perfect circle. Holographic displays floated in the center, showing data and reports from across the galaxy. Council leader Thexara, a tall being with silver skin and no visible mouth, gestured at one display. It showed Jake's repair shop. "This human presents a growing concern," Thexara announced. Her voice came from a translator device on her chest. "He repairs technology from species far more advanced than his own. He understands systems that should be beyond human comprehension. This is dangerous." Every 223 point. Every TP2. Representative Molch, who looked like a floating jellyfish made of light, pulsed thoughtfully. "Dangerous? He simply fixes broken things. His customers seem very satisfied." "That is precisely the problem," Thexara insisted. "Humans are a young species. They should not be able to understand our technology. What if he learns too much? What if he shares this knowledge with his people? What if Earth suddenly begins building advanced weapons based on alien designs?" The council chamber filled with worried murmurs. Species shifted in their seats. Concerned looks were exchanged. "We must send a message," declared Representative Korth, a being covered in thick armor plating. "This human must be stopped before he causes real problems." "What do you suggest?" asked Molch. "He has broken no laws. His customers come willingly. He charges fair prices." Thexara's eyes glowed brighter. "We will send Vex Thor." Silence fell over the chamber. Several representatives gasped. Others moved nervously in their seats. "Vex Thor?" Molch's light flickered. "That seems extreme. He is meant for serious threats." "This is a serious threat," Thexara responded firmly. "The human will continue unless properly motivated. Vex Thor will make him understand the consequences of interfering with technology beyond his station." The council voted. Most agreed. A message would be sent to the Arachnis homeworld. Vex Thor would be deployed. Back on Crossroads 7, Jake received an official communication 2 days later. The Galactic Council seal appeared on his screen. He had never received anything from the Council before. His heart beat faster as he opened it. The message was short and clear. Human Jake Morrison. You are hereby warned to cease all repair activities involving non-human technology. Your interference with advanced systems poses a risk to galactic stability. Continued disregard for this warning will result in severe consequences. You have 5 days to comply. Jake read it 3 times. Then he laughed. Risk to galactic stability? I'm fixing broken coffee makers and engine parts. How is that risky? 1. Risky. He saved the message and returned to his current project, a Helion entertainment device that wouldn't display images properly. The owner's child was very sad without it. Jake had promised to fix it by tomorrow. The Council's warning seemed ridiculous to him. He believed in the right to repair. If someone's property was broken, they should be able to fix it or have it fixed. That was a basic principle. Advanced technology or not, the principle remained the same. He worked late into the station's night cycle. The Helion device finally flickered to life, showing colorful images of alien cartoons. Jake smiled. Another job completed. Another customer who would be happy. He cleaned his workspace and prepared to close the shop. Tomorrow would bring new repairs, new challenges, new opportunities to help people. Jake Morrison had no idea that tomorrow would also bring Vex Thor. He had no idea that an 8-foot-tall, spider-like alien was already traveling toward Crossroads 7. He had no idea that the galaxy's most feared enforcer was coming specifically for him. And he definitely had no idea that the Council had made a terrible mistake. Vex Thor's ship docked at Crossroads 7 3 days later. The station's automated systems registered his arrival and immediately sent alerts to security. Within minutes, every guard on the station knew that an Arachnus enforcer had arrived. Station Commander Yulvan, a short reptilian being with green scales, watched the security footage with growing dread. He saw Vex Thor emerge from the docking bay. 8 long legs moved with perfect coordination. His body stood 8 feet tall, covered in dark, chitinous armor that gleamed under the station lights. 8 red eyes scanned the corridor. Venomous fangs extended slightly from his mouth parts. Every alien in the corridor immediately fled. Some ran into shops and locked the doors. Others pressed themselves against walls, trying to become invisible. 2 Valorian traders actually fainted. "Why is he here?" Yulvan whispered to his assistant. "Records show he has business with the human mechanic on level 7. The assistant replied, her voice shaking. "Jake Morrison." Yulvan's heart sank. That poor human has no idea what's coming. Throughout the station, word spread quickly. The Arachnus enforcer was heading to Jake's shop. Aliens gathered at safe distances, watching through windows and around corners. Some recorded the moment on their devices. They expected to see the human run screaming. They expected begging and crying. They expected terror. Vex Thor had that effect on everyone. Jake was humming an Earth song while repairing a Kryn navigation unit when his shop door opened. He didn't look up immediately, focused on reconnecting a delicate circuit. "Welcome. I'll be with you in just 1 moment," he called out cheerfully. Almost done with this tricky bit. He finished the connection, tested it quickly, and then turned around with his usual friendly smile. "Okay. How can I help you, Todd?" Jake's words stopped. His eyes went very wide. His mouth opened slightly. Vex Thor stood in the doorway, filling the entire frame. All 8 legs positioned for maximum intimidation. His red eyes fixed on the human, with predatory focus. His fangs extended fully, showing their curved, venomous tips. The lighting made his dark armor look even more menacing. This was the moment Vex Thor expected the human to scream, to run, to beg for mercy. Instead, Jake's face lit up with pure joy. "Oh my gosh," Jake practically shouted. "You're amazing." Vex Thor froze. In 300 years of being an enforcer, No one had ever said that word to him. Amazing? What was happening? Jake rushed forward with excitement, completely ignoring the danger. I mean, look at you. The engineering of your body is incredible. How do your hydraulics work with 8 legs? The coordination required must be unbelievable. Vex Thor took a step back, genuinely confused. You are not afraid? Afraid? Jake laughed. Why would I be afraid? You're absolutely fascinating. Is your exoskeleton self-repairing? I've read about chitinous structures but never seen one this advanced. And those eyes, 8 different viewing angles. Right? The data processing must be extraordinary. The Arachnus enforcer stood completely still. His mind struggled to process this reaction. No fear, no running, just enthusiasm? About his biology? I am here to intimidate you, Vex Thor said slowly. You are supposed to be terrified. Jake tilted his head, looking confused. Why would you intimidate me? Did I do something wrong? Oh. Are you here about a repair? Did I fix something of yours, and it broke again? I offer warranties on all my work. No. Vex Thor's mandibles clicked with bewilderment. The Galactic Council sent me. You are repairing technology beyond your species' understanding. This must stop. Wendaga, Ian Shane. Oh, that warning. Jake waved his hand dismissively. Yeah. I got that message. Seemed silly. So I ignored it. I'm just helping people fix their stuff. Nothing dangerous about that. He moved closer, studying Vex Thor's leg joints with obvious interest. Can I ask you something? That joint on your 3rd left leg, does it ever give you trouble? I notice you're favoring it slightly. Old injury? Vex Thor looked down at his leg, shocked. How did the human notice that? Yes. An injury from many years ago. It causes pain sometimes. I thought so. The way you distribute weight is compensating for reduced flexibility there. Jake grabbed a portable scanner from his workbench. May I? Just curious about the mechanical structure. I promise I won't touch without permission. Against all his training and instincts, Vex Thor found himself nodding. Jake scanned the leg joint carefully, his face showing intense concentration. Fascinating. The damage created scar tissue that restricts movement. But I think, yes, there might be a way to help that. Help it? Vex Thor's voice carried disbelief. Many doctors have tried. Nothing works. Well, they're doctors. I'm a mechanic. Jake grinned. Sometimes you need a different perspective. Come on. Sit down. Let me show you something. Outside the shop, dozens of aliens watched through the windows in complete shock. The terrifying Vex Thor was sitting in Jake's workshop. The human was showing him pictures on a datapad. Were they having a conversation? Commander Yulvan watched the security feed with his mouth hanging open. What is happening? Inside, Jake scrolled through images on his pad. See, on Earth, many humans actually love spiders. We have whole communities dedicated to spider appreciation. Look, jumping spiders. They're adorable. And these are tarantula keepers, people who care for spiders as pets. Vex Thor stared at the images. Your people keep arachnids? Voluntarily? Of course, we think they're cool. There are spider conservation groups, educational programs, even spider photography clubs. Jake showed more pictures. We used to be afraid of them, sure. But then we learned about them, understood them, realized they're not monsters, they're just misunderstood creatures doing their thing. Something strange happened in Vex Thor's chest, a feeling he hadn't experienced in centuries. Hope? My species, he said quietly, has been feared for millennia. We are always the enforcers, the intimidators, the ones sent to make others comply. No one has ever wanted to understand us. Jake looked up at him with genuine sympathy. That sounds really lonely. Those simple words hit Vex Thor harder than any weapon ever had. Lonely. Yes, that was exactly what it was. Let me help with that leg, Jake offered. Not as intimidation or politics or any of that nonsense. Just because everyone deserves to move without pain. What do you say? 2. Vex Thor looked at this strange human who showed no fear. Who showed only curiosity and kindness. Who saw a person instead of a monster. Yes, he said finally. I would. Appreciate that. Jake smiled brightly. Great. This is going to be interesting. Outside, the watching aliens could not believe their eyes. The human and the enforcer were working together. The galaxy's most feared being was letting a human examine his injured leg. What had just happened? And why wasn't the human running for his life? Jake spent the next 2 hours carefully examining Vex Thor's damaged leg joint. He took measurements, ran scans, and made detailed notes. Vex Thor watched with growing curiosity. No one had ever been this thorough. No one had cared this much. The problem is here, Jake explained, pointing at his scanner display. The scar tissue creates friction. Every time you move, it grinds against the joint. That's what causes the pain. Yes, Vex Thor confirmed. Jake nodded thoughtfully. Right. But what if we don't remove it? What if we work around it instead? He moved to his workbench and began sorting through materials. Metal pieces, flexible polymers, cushioning foam. His hands moved quickly, selecting and rejecting different items. My philosophy is simple, Jake said while working. Everything deserves to function properly. Machines, devices, living beings, doesn't matter. If something's broken and causing problems, we should try to fix it. Vexus Thor watched the human work with fascination. Jake's movements were precise and confident. He combined materials that seemed incompatible, testing each connection carefully. After an hour, Jake held up a small curved brace. It looked delicate but sturdy, made from layers of different materials bonded together. This should work, Jake announced. It'll fit around the joint and reduce the friction. The inner layer will cushion the scar tissue. The outer layer provides support without restricting movement. Want to try it? Vexus Thor hesitated. 300 years of pain had made him cautious about hope. It will not work. Nothing has worked before. Maybe, Jake agreed. But trying costs nothing except a few minutes. And if it does work, you'll move without pain for the first time in years. Seems worth the risk to me. That human optimism was strange to Vex Thor, but also appealing. He extended his damaged leg. Very well. Proceed. Jake carefully fitted the brace around the joint. He adjusted the positioning, tested the flexibility, and made small modifications. Finally, he stepped back. Okay, try moving it. Vex Thor shifted his weight onto the leg. He expected the familiar sharp pain. Instead, he felt nothing. No grinding. No ache. Just smooth movement. He took a step, then another. He walked in a small circle. For the first time in decades, all 8 legs moved with equal comfort. It does not hurt, Vex Thor whispered, his voice filled with wonder. How did you? Why did you? Jake smiled warmly. Because I could. Because you needed help. That's enough reason, isn't it? Vex Thor stood perfectly still. Something was happening inside him. Something breaking. 3 centuries of being feared and isolated. 3 centuries of being used as a weapon. 3 centuries of no one seeing him as anything except terrifying. And this human fixed his leg simply because he could. I was sent to stop you, Vexthor said quietly. The Council fears your abilities. They worry you will learn too much. Share too much with your people. They sent me to make you afraid, to force you to stop repairing alien technology. Jake laughed. Not a mocking laugh, but genuine amusement. Well, that backfired spectacularly, didn't it? Yes. Vexthor's mandibles clicked in what might have been laughter. It truly did. Jake pulled up a chair and sat down. Want to know the truth? Humans were afraid of lots of things until we learned about them. Dark places, strange sounds, animals we didn't understand. But curiosity always won over fear. We learned. We studied. We discovered that most scary things weren't actually dangerous, just different. Your species overcame fear through knowledge? Exactly. And once we understood something, we could appreciate it. Work with it. Even become friends with it. Jake gestured at Vexthor. Like now. Friends. Another word no one had ever applied to Vexthor. The Council will be angry, Vexathor said. I was supposed to complete my mission, make you comply with their warning. Jake shrugged. So what will you tell them? Vexthor considered this. For 300 years, he had followed orders without question. He was the enforcer, the intimidator, the weapon. But weapons don't have friends. Weapons don't feel gratitude. Weapons don't experience relief from chronic pain. Maybe he was tired of being a weapon. I will tell them the truth, Vexthor decided. That humans are not what they think. That your curiosity is not a threat, but a gift. That understanding technology does not mean weaponizing it. They won't like that answer. No, Vexthor agreed. They will not. Jake stood up and extended his hand. How about this? You teach me about alien biomechanics and advanced biological systems. I'll teach you about human engineering and problem-solving approaches. We'll learn from each other, partners instead of enforcer and target. Vexthor looked at the offered hand. A human gesture of agreement and friendship. Slowly, carefully, he extended one leg and touched Jake's hand with the tip. Partners, he agreed. Outside the shop, the crowd of watching aliens had grown larger. Station Commander Yulvan pushed through to the front, needing to see this impossible situation with his own eyes. Through the window, he saw the human and the Arachnus touching in some kind of greeting. This is unprecedented, Yulvan muttered. The Council will have strong reactions to this. His assistant nodded nervously. Should we report it? Report what? That their plan failed completely? That their most feared enforcer just befriended the human they sent him to intimidate? Yulvan shook his head. The Council will find out soon enough. Inside the shop, Jake and Vexthor were already sharing knowledge. Jake explained human mechanical principles, leverage, load distribution, material stress. Vexthor described Arachnus biological engineering, how their bodies self-repaired, how their venom was actually a complex medical compound, how their multiple eyes processed information. They talked for hours. Jake took notes. Vexthor asked questions. Two beings from completely different worlds, finding common ground in mutual curiosity and respect. As the station's day cycle ended, Jake yawned and stretched. I should close up for the night. You have somewhere to stay? My ship, Vexthor replied. But I do not wish to leave yet. This conversation is the most interesting thing that has happened to me in centuries. Jake grinned. Same here. Tell you what, come back tomorrow. We'll continue. I've got a Valorian medical device that needs repair. Your knowledge of biological systems could really help. I would like that. Vexthor left the shop, walking smoothly on all 8 legs without pain. Aliens scattered before him as usual. But something was different now. He didn't feel like a monster. He felt like someone who had just made a friend. Back in the shop, Jake's communicator beeped urgently. A priority message from the Galactic Council. He opened it. The message was short and angry. Enforcer Vex Thor has failed his mission. More severe measures will be taken. You have been warned, human. Jake read it, sighed, and closed the device. Tomorrow would bring new challenges. But tonight, he had helped someone. He had made a friend. And he had proven, once again, that understanding worked better than fear. He locked his shop and headed to his quarters, already thinking about tomorrow's projects. The galaxy was learning something important. Intimidating humans rarely worked as planned. News traveled fast across the galaxy. Within 2 days, every major space station knew about Jake Morrison and Vex Thor. The story seemed impossible. Yet security footage proved it was real. A human had befriended the galaxy's most feared enforcer. On the Arachnus homeworld, something remarkable happened. Other members of Vexus Thor's species heard the story and became curious. For the first time in their history, they wondered, could there be more to existence than being feared? 3 young Arachnus sent messages to Crossroads 7, asking about the human who saw beauty instead of terror. They wanted to meet him. They wanted to understand how he looked past their frightening appearance. Station Commander Yulvan received these messages with nervous excitement. His station was becoming famous, but fame could be dangerous. Meanwhile, the Galactic Council gathered for an emergency meeting. The holographic displays showed footage of Jake and Vex's Thor working together in the repair shop. They showed the 2 beings examining alien technology side by side. They showed what looked like genuine friendship. Council leader Thexara's silver skin darkened with anger. This is exactly what we feared. The human has not stopped. He has not complied. Worse, he has corrupted our enforcer. Corrupted seems harsh. Representative Mulch observed, his light pulsing thoughtfully. They appear to be collaborating peacefully. On writing past. Way. That is the problem, Thexara insisted. If humans can befriend the Arachnus, our primary enforcement tool becomes useless. How do we maintain order if the beings we send to intimidate return as allies? Representative Korth shifted in his armored seat. Perhaps we should send a delegation. Speak with this human directly. Understand what makes him so different. The council debated for hours. Finally, they voted. A delegation would visit Crossroads 7. They would confront Jake Morrison and demand explanations. They would make him understand the seriousness of his actions. 3 days later, a massive council ship arrived at the station. 5 representatives emerged. Thexara, Mulch, Korth, and 2 others. Station security rushed to prepare for their arrival. Commander Yulvan personally escorted them to Level 7, where Jake's shop was located. A crowd had already gathered. Word spread that the council itself was coming. Aliens lined the corridors, watching with anticipation and nervousness. The delegation reached Jake's shop. Through the window, they saw Jake and Vex Thor working on a complex piece of machinery together. Both were so focused, they didn't notice the crowd outside. Thexara entered first, her presence commanding immediate attention. Jake looked up from his work, wiping grease from his hands. "Oh, hello," Jake said cheerfully. "Can I help you? I am Council Leader Thexara. We sent you warnings. We sent an enforcer. Yet you continue your dangerous activities." Her translator device made her voice sound cold and official. Jake glanced at Vex Thor, who stood calmly beside him. "Dangerous? I'm fixing broken things. How is that dangerous? You are manipulating technology beyond your understanding," Thexara declared. "You are influencing our enforcers. You are disrupting galactic order." Manipulating? Jake's eyebrows rose. That's an interesting word choice. Let me show you something. He gestured for them to follow him deeper into the shop. On various workbenches sat completed repairs. A Zenthari quantum drive, a Valorian medical scanner, a Kryn entertainment device, a Helion food synthesizer. Each of these was declared unfixable by certified technicians, Jake explained. The owners were told to buy expensive replacements. I fixed them for the cost of basic materials. The owners are happy. The technology works again. Where's the manipulation? 1. Representative Mulch floated closer to examine the repairs. His light pulsed with surprise. These repairs are remarkably elegant. The solutions are creative, but sound. Thank you, Jake said. I believe every piece of technology deserves to work properly, just like every living being deserves to live without pain. He gestured at Vex's Thor. Your enforcer came here with chronic pain from an old injury. I helped him because I could, because he deserved relief. Is that manipulation? Or is that just basic kindness? Vex Thor stepped forward. Council leader, I must speak. This human has shown me something I never experienced before. Respect, understanding, friendship. My entire life, I have been a tool for intimidation. Jake Morrison is the first being in 3 centuries who saw me as a person. You were sent on a mission, Thexara replied sharply. You failed. No. Vex Thor corrected. I succeeded in learning an important truth. Humans are not threats. Their curiosity leads to cooperation, not conflict. Their desire to understand creates bridges, not weapons. Other aliens outside the shop began speaking up. A Zenthari captain pushed forward. Jake Morrison saved me 50,000 credits. He repaired my quantum drive when 3 technicians said it was impossible. A Valorian mother stepped closer. He fixed my child's entertainment device. My daughter was so sad without it. He asked for only minimal payment. More voices joined. Story after story of Jake's repairs, his fair prices, his genuine desire to help. The crowd outside grew louder with support. Thexara looked around, clearly not expecting this response. You all support this human? Yes. Many voices answered together. Representative Korth spoke for the first time. Council leader, perhaps we have misunderstood the situation. This human is not causing problems. He is solving them. Thexara's skin flickered with frustration. She was about to respond when alarms suddenly blared throughout the station. Emergency lights flashed red. Commander Yulvan's voice came over the communication system. Attention all residents. Major system failure detected. Life support is experiencing critical malfunctions. Multiple alien technologies are interfering with each other. We have less than 6 hours to fix this, or the station will lose atmosphere. Silence fell over the crowd. 6 hours. Thousands of lives at risk. Jake immediately moved to his computer terminal and began analyzing the problem. Data streamed across his screens. His face grew serious as he studied the information. This is bad, he muttered. Really bad. The station uses technology from 20 different species. Something caused a cascade failure. Now they're all fighting each other, instead of working together. Thexara watched him work. Can it be fixed? Jake looked up at her, then at the council delegation, then at the crowd of different species outside his shop. An idea formed in his mind. A crazy idea. But maybe crazy was exactly what they needed. Maybe, he said slowly. But not by me alone. I need help. Expertise from every species whose technology is involved. That is impossible, Thexara said. These species do not cooperate. They protect their technological secrets. Jake smiled. It was not a happy smile. It was determined. Then, I guess we have 6 hours to make the impossible happen. Because the alternative is everyone on this station dies. Together. He looked directly at the council leader. So what's it going to be? Keep arguing about whether I should fix things? Or let me actually save lives? Jake's words hung in the air. The council delegation looked at each other. Outside, the crowd waited anxiously. The emergency alarms continued, their urgent wailing. Vexara made her decision quickly. What do you need? Representatives from every species whose technology is integrated into the station's systems. Jake replied immediately. I need their knowledge. Their expertise. We have to work together. Commander Yulvan stepped forward. I will gather them, but many will refuse. Old rivalries, ancient disputes, species who do not trust each other. Then we convince them, Vexthor said firmly. I will help. My reputation can be useful for something good. Instead of fear. Within 30 minutes, representatives from 18 different species gathered in the station's main engineering bay. The room was tense. Species who normally avoided each other now stood in the same space. Some glared at old rivals. Others kept their distance from traditional enemies. Jake stood in the center with a massive holographic display showing the station's failing systems. Red warning indicators flashed everywhere. Thank you all for coming, Jake began. I know many of you do not like each other. I know you have reasons. But right now, thousands of innocent lives depend on us. Children, families, people who did nothing wrong, except live on this station. He manipulated the display, showing the cascade of failures. Each of your species created amazing technology, brilliant engineering, but these systems were never meant to work together. They're fighting each other. The Zenthari power grid is overwhelming the Valorian distribution network. The Kryn cooling system conflicts with the Helion thermal regulators. Everything is falling apart. Disgrade. RD5. The Zenthari power grid. A Zenthari engineer spoke coldly. Our technology is superior. The problem is the inferior systems trying to match our power output. A Valorian representative hissed angrily. Your systems are the problem. Too aggressive. No consideration for integrated networks. Arguments erupted immediately. Species blaming each other. Old prejudices surfacing. Jake watched them argue for exactly 30 seconds. Then he did something unexpected. He turned off the holographic display. The sudden silence got everyone's attention. You know what I see when I look at your technology? Jake said quietly. I see brilliance. Every single one of you invented something amazing. The Zenthari created the most efficient power generation in the galaxy. The Valorians built distribution networks that lose almost zero energy. The Kryn designed cooling systems that work in extreme conditions. The Helions made thermal regulation an art form. He looked around the room, making eye contact with each representative. But you're all so busy being afraid of each other, so busy protecting your secrets, so busy maintaining old rivalries, that you never combined your knowledge. You never asked, what could we create together? Representative Mulch floated forward, his light pulsing. The human has a point. We have been focused on what separates us instead of what could unite us. Easy for you to say, the Valorian engineer muttered. The Zenthari have been our rivals for generations. The Zenthari engineer crossed his arms. Because your people refuse to acknowledge superior technology. Jake stepped between them. Stop. Just stop. You know what humans were like? Hundreds of years ago, we fought each other over everything. Different beliefs, different appearances, different ideas. We were terrible to each other. But you know what saved us? Understanding, learning about each other, seeing past fear to find common ground. He gestured at Vexthor, who stood quietly at the side of the room. 3 days ago, the council sent him to intimidate me. Everyone expected me to be terrified. But I saw past the scary appearance. I saw a person with chronic pain who needed help. I saw someone who had been isolated, and misunderstood for centuries. And now, he's my friend. Vex Thor moved forward on his 8 legs. Many in the room shifted nervously, but his voice was gentle. Jake Morrison showed me that being different does not mean being enemies. That understanding conquers fear. I have been an enforcer for 300 years. I have seen countless conflicts born from misunderstanding, from species refusing to cooperate because of old grudges. He looked at the Zenthari and Valorian engineers. Will you let those grudges kill thousands today? Or will you be brave enough to try something new? Silence filled the room. The emergency alarms continued their countdown. 5 hours remaining. Finally, the Zenthari engineer spoke. What do you need from us? Jake immediately turned the display back on. I need your expertise. Your knowledge. I'll coordinate, but you'll provide the solutions. Together. What happened next would be remembered in galactic history. The Zenthari engineer and the Valorian engineer stood side by side, examining the power distribution problem. At first, they disagreed on everything. But slowly, as Jake asked questions and translated concepts between them, they began finding common ground. If we reduced the power surge by 15%, the Valorian suggested hesitantly, and adjusted the frequency modulation, the Zenthari added, his tone less hostile. That could work, they said together, surprised. Across the room, other species began cooperating. The Kryn and Helians solved the thermal conflict. The Mulch species helped integrate biological systems. Species after species contributed their unique knowledge. Jake moved between groups, asking questions, making connections, helping them understand each other's approaches. He acted as a bridge, translating not just languages, but ways of thinking. 3 hours passed. Then 4. The solutions came together like pieces of a complex puzzle. Each species provided something essential. Each contribution built on the others. With 40 minutes remaining, Jake initiated the repairs. The combined solutions flowed through the station's systems. Red warning indicators began turning green. The power stabilized. The cooling systems synchronized. The thermal regulators balanced perfectly. The emergency alarm stopped. The holographic display showed all green indicators. The station's systems hummed smoothly, working together for the first time in perfect harmony. The engineering bay erupted in cheers. Species who had been rivals hours ago now celebrated together. The Zenthari engineer and the Valorian engineer shook hands. Others exchanged their species' gestures of respect and gratitude. Commander Yulvan's voice came over the communication system. All systems normal. Crisis averted. Excellent work, everyone. Thexara approached Jake slowly. Her silver skin had returned to its normal color. You were right, human. We have been so focused on our fears that we missed something important. What's that? Jake asked, exhausted but smiling. That cooperation creates better solutions than isolation. That, understanding different perspectives, leads to innovation. That, diversity, is a strength, not a threat. She looked around at the celebrating species. The Council will create a new initiative. Cross-species, understanding, and cooperation. You will lead it. If you accept. Jake glanced at Vex Thor, who nodded encouragingly. I accept, but only if it's truly about cooperation, not control, not restrictions, real collaboration. Agreed, Thexara said. Over the following weeks, Jake's repair shop transformed. It became the Cross-Species Cooperation Center. Representatives from dozens of species came to learn, share, and work together. Vex Thor became Jake's official partner, and other arachnists began pursuing peaceful careers for the first time in their history. The corridors that once emptied when Vex Thor walked through them, now filled with beings who greeted him warmly. Children from various species no longer hid from him but asked questions about his 8 eyes and interesting legs. Jake continued fixing things. But now he also taught. He showed aliens how to understand each other's technology, how to find creative solutions, how to see past differences to find connections. One evening, as Jake closed the center for the day, Vex's Thor joined him outside. "The council made a mistake sending me," Vex Thor observed. Jake laughed. "The best kind of mistake. The kind that leads to something better. They thought you were dangerous because you would not follow their warnings." "And they were right," Jake replied. "I am dangerous. Dangerous to fear. Dangerous to isolation. Dangerous to the idea that being different means being enemies." They walked together through the busy corridors, past species cooperating and learning from each other. The station had become a symbol of what could happen when beings chose understanding over fear. The galaxy had learned an important lesson. Sometimes, the bad idea is actually the breakthrough everyone needed. Sometimes, the person who refuses to be intimidated is exactly the person who changes everything. And sometimes, the scariest being in the galaxy just needs a friend who sees past the fangs to the person underneath.